busy professional or taking on new projects is that it can be super scary. There's a lot of fear. Sometimes we're overwhelmed with all the new tasks we need to do and how our attitudes can catch up to the person we desire to be. Lynda Sunshine West is the author of The Year of Fears, the 7 most important lessons she learned that will save time and money, which who doesn't love doing those things? When she discovered the secret of confronting her fears painlessly, believe it or not, and with ease, she was unstoppable. There was no way that she was going to let the fear of success, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, which was her biggest overcome, really stop her from taking action. She now leads the Women Action Takers community online and continues to amplify this fearlessness for people around the world. Lynda, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mia, for having me. And I must correct something you said at the beginning, because it was not with ease.
Okay.
When I faced a fear every day, there was no ease, was not in my vocabulary, not until more like towards the end of the year. And what makes a person decide to face a fear every single day for a year? It was a decision I made. It was a conscious decision because I had just 5 months prior to that, I had hired a life coach to help me figure out some things with life, about my life. What's my purpose, on this planet? What's the purpose of this whole planet in the first place? I was at a really low place in my life where I wanted something different. I was 51 years old. I was driving to work one day and I was just so angry with the world, angry with the traffic, angry with my job. By that time, it was my 49th job. I had a lot of jobs. I worked in the corporate world for 36 years, started working when I was 16. So do the math there. I was 51 years old. And I was just asking myself a question that most of us, I think, ask at some point in our life, is like, what is the purpose? What is this all about? What is my purpose? Why am I here? I don't have any value. Like, all I do is I go to work. There's things I was saying as I was driving to work. I go to work every day. I just push papers around. I was working in a job that I worked really hard to get to. I was working for a judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and he is the number 2 judge in the entire circuit. So I really worked hard to get there. My penultimate, I made it. This is awesome. I hated my job. Absolutely hated it. It was boring. I felt like, again, I was just pushing papers all over the place. I didn't have any purpose. That job was not fulfilling me in any way, shape, or form. So when I got to work that day, there was a Facebook post, and it was from some random woman, never met her. I have no idea who she was. And it said, I'm a life coach. I took some time off. I'm getting back into it. So I'm looking for 5 women who want to change their life. And as happens sometimes when I have our mind open, our heart and our soul open, I knew she was talking to me. I was one of those 5 women, and she was going to change my life. So I raised my hand and I hired this life coach, went on this incredible journey. Every single week we would meet on the phone, and she would ask me a whole bunch of questions. And I swear I hated her every single week because she asked me really tough questions about myself, about my purpose, about my value. And she really dug deep. And I'm one of those types of people who, when somebody asks me a question, I got to figure out the answer. There's an answer here. And at the beginning, it was kind of interesting because as I look back on it, I realized that at the beginning, when she would ask me these questions, I felt like there was a right answer. I wasn't looking for my answer or my right answer. I was looking for the right answer. So I approached it, in a way that I was used to. This was my typical pattern, was to have the right answer. And why was that? A lot of that was because I grew up in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household. And I became a people pleaser, because of that environment. And so I wanted to please her. I wanted to please my life coach and have the right answer. It was about 2 months into it where she realized what was going on, that I was trying to come up with the right answer. And we started to make a shift. My responses started being me actually digging deep into, what does Lynda want? What is Lynda all about? And I started really digging deep. And it was an incredible 5 months. It was the fastest growing time in my life. And I look back on that and first of all, I'm so grateful to myself for raising my hand and saying, I want change. I'm grateful to her, of course. That goes without saying. But oftentimes we think we forget to be grateful to ourselves for making the decision to make the change. Your decision to be here today is a decision that not everybody made. We have a handful of people here, right? So each one of you made this decision for a specific reason. Whatever that reason is, none of us knows. You might not even know right now. Hopefully you'll know at some point. There's somebody who speaks to you today who says something that you need to hear. We don't know what that is. We can only offer what we're offering. And hopefully something that I say today will give you a takeaway. In 2015, I woke up January 1st, and I don't make New Year's resolutions because I break them every single time. So I've learned that about myself. Don't make New Year's resolutions. But I wanted to do something different. I had worked with my life coach. It was an awesome 5 months that I committed to working with her. I was changing on a weekly basis. And I know this because people would say, you're so different this week than you were last week. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right. I was feeling better, but I wasn't seeing the change myself because I'm myself and I'm living in it. I finished working with her the end of November in 2014. So I had December all by myself. I didn't know how to affect the change myself that I was effecting with her, but I didn't want to do another 5 months. I wanted to do it myself. And I didn't have very much change that month. I had some, but not nearly as much as I had. And I got to tell you, I got addicted to the positive change. I had been a very negative person my whole life. And, a lot of times people would see me and think I was positive because that's what was coming out of my mouth. But that's not what was going inside of my brain, inside of my head, beating myself up on a regular basis. You're so stupid. You're so ignorant. These are words that I heard as I was growing up. My first husband made sure I knew how stupid and ignorant I was on a daily basis. And so making these changes and making these shifts, going from a very negative person, a person who walked around with this facade, this mask, I wore a mask on a daily basis for 51 years until I finally decided to raise my hand and work with that life coach. But I got addicted to the change of positivity. I started feeling something different inside of my body. We're talking about wellness, right? We talk about self-care. We talk about all these things. We can feel this in our body. We can feel when we're not feeling good. We can feel when things aren't going right. We can feel this stuff if we really tune in. I had never really tuned into that stuff before until I started going down the positivity path. So I woke up that morning and I said, I got to do something different this year because I got so addicted to the change. I don't have that anymore. You know what? I got so many fears. Fear is stopping me from living. I'm going to face a fear every single day this year. Why the heck did I make that decision? I don't know, but I committed to it. It was a commitment to change my life. So what I did every single morning, when that alarm went off, I didn't get up out of bed and walk over to the other side of the room and get a glass of water. I didn't do that, which I learned that lesson today, right? Get up, walk to the other side of the room, grab a glass of water, then you're set to go. I didn't do that. But what I did is when the alarm went off, I turned it off and I laid in bed. And I laid there and I asked myself a question. What scares me? These 3 words I asked myself every single day for 365 days in a row, never missed a day. That was the fastest growing year of my entire life. My life coach put me on a path and she helped to guide me to that path. Then when I got on that path, it was my job to go run and do the work to change. And I got to tell you, I still have fears. I'm a human being. But what's different is now I'm able to quickly recognize fear and say, wow, I'm scared of something. And then I can quickly now recognize what that something is because I did this for a whole year. And now I just say, oh, that's fear. Whatever. I'm going to do it because I'm scared. I do things now because I'm scared, because no growth happens inside of our comfort zone. All of our growth happens outside of it. And again, I'm still addicted to change and growth and positivity. I've become an extremely positive person. It's kind of weird. Like my name here, Lynda Sunshine West. Sunshine is not my given name. Sunshine is a name that was given to me just within the last 3 to 4 years. And it's through this personal development journey that I've been on, through this development of going from a negative person to a positive person. I see the glass half full. I actually see the glass full. Forget about the half full, half empty. I see the glass full. The glass is full. There may be a little drop of negativity in there sometimes, but I see it that way. And it may be a Pollyanna type of thinking, but you know what? I remember my mom, she had a Pollyanna. We used to say, oh, she's like Pollyanna, where like everything's always great. And I gotta, it's kind of interesting as you go through life and you reflect back on things of who you were and who you are today. I remember how I used to say, oh gosh, she's so fake. This was my belief. My belief was that my mom was fake. Nobody could possibly be that happy, especially with the abuse that she had gone through. So I believed it to be a fake thing, that when people were positive and happy, that wasn't real. How could anybody live that way? Because of the environment that I grew up in. But now that I'm on this side of it, I see that, yes, it is real. It can be real, but it's up to us. We have to make a decision to change that. As I get older, I just hit 58. So I'm not a spring chicken. I'm a little bit older. I'm on the older. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm almost 60. I remember when thinking that 60 was old. I thought 40 was old, but then when I hit 50 and then 51 and then now 58, and I'm like, actually realized this birthday that I'm way closer to 60 than I was last year, that it's not the number that defines who we are. It's who we are that defines who we are. I walk around as a 58-year-old woman. I know a lot of women and men walking around at this age saying, I'm too old. I can't do that. That's for the kids. Oh, the little people do that. Oh, those kids, they do, you know what? You are a kid at heart. You still have that child inside of you. That child is in there. You just forgot about him or her. It's time to bring them out. Like you see this, how I am right now, this energy that I'm walking around in, right? Standing, sitting, I'm sitting around in right now. This is my energy. This is who I am everywhere I go. And I wanted to share this is I was at an event and I wrote this book. She mentioned the book I wrote called The Year of Fears, the 7 most important lessons I learned that will save you time and money. Come on now. That's what Les Brown actually endorsed my book in a video. And he says that at the end, come on now. It's like, I should just add that to the title of the book, but I was attending this event and I love going to events because I'm an extrovert and I get energy from other people. So just seeing you, even though not everybody is on screen, just seeing these names and stuff, this gives me energy, which is awesome. But I was attending this event and I was standing during a break and I was standing talking to like 3 of my friends. And I heard this woman from the other side of the venue running, like she was, Lynda Sunshine, Lynda Sunshine. She was yelling. And I looked over, I was like, oh my God, who's this woman? She's coming after me. I didn't know what was going to happen. Lynda Sunshine. And she got over there. She's like, I bought your book, The Year of Fears. I read the first 14 pages and I already broke through 5 fears. It was in that moment that I realized she was the one I wrote that book for. She is the one I wrote that book for. I didn't write that book because I wanted to. What happened was I faced that fear every single day. And at the end of the year, my mentor, who's been instrumental in my changes in my life and has been instrumental in me meeting, I met Les Brown, Jack Canfield, the president of Mexico. These are all people I've interviewed. And it was because of my mentor. And it was in that year of fears that I met my mentor. He's been instrumental in my life. But when I got to the end of that year, my mentor said to me, now what are you going to do? You face a fear every day. Now what are you going to do? Like, what do you mean? What am I going to do? I think facing a fear every day is plenty. I don't need to do any more than that. And he said, no, you need to write a book. And guess what? I was immediately scared. So even though I face a fear every day, I still have fears, right? I was like, me write a book, put my words on paper? I don't think so. You need to write a book because there's somebody out there who needs to hear your message. And when that lady ran over to me, her name was Carrie. I didn't know her. She saw me on Facebook and she decided to buy my book. And when she ran over to me, I was like, she is why I wrote the book. By the way, it took me a year. It took me a year of starting my book over and over and over again. I didn't finish it for over a year because I didn't know how to finish it. I wasn't accustomed to being a finisher. My dad was a starter. My mom was a finisher. I was a starter and I didn't have a finisher. So I just didn't finish things, but then finally I met somebody who helped me. She is coach, like a book coach, and she guided me, and I was able to write and finish my book in a week and publish it in a week. And it became a best-selling book within the first day. And that was so cool. I was like, but guess what? I was scared to put the book out there. Again, fear, it shows up in us all over the place. But are we having it stop us from doing what we want to do? Or are we having it stop us from what we don't want to do? Fears are all over the place. How do we get through those fears? I'm going to share with you a 7-step, very simple, extremely simple 7 steps to break through fears. When I first started doing this, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then as I got to do it more and more and more, I realized that this was I know that there's somebody, I don't remember names. I think Mel Robbins or something has like the 3-second rule or 5-second. I don't even know the rule, but there's a rule out there, right? You just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or something like that. There's all these different techniques. I'm going to share with you my technique. This worked for me, and it's worked for many, many people I know because I share this with you, just anybody who asks me for any techniques. And the reason this works is because it really helps you to dive into your future. So it's not like saying, oh, it's a fear. I'm just going to, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just do it. I want you to think about things. You don't have to, but this is how I operate. So let's say that something comes up, and I'll use a great example, making sales calls. How many of you love making sales calls? Luann. Okay. Luann might be the only person that actually loves making sales calls. So Luann, this analogy might not work for you, but still you'll get the point. I myself don't like making sales calls. I go into this fear zone, right? Of what if I don't know what to say? What if when they ask for the price, I don't know what price to say because I'm just not prepared, or I have all these what ifs, what if. So guess what? I don't make sales calls. This is how I used to be. So I just wouldn't even pick the phone. And if you're not making sales calls, guess what? You're not making any sales, So going into a sales call, here's what I would ask myself. It's these 7 simple questions. Okay. So I want you to write this down. If I make this blank sales call, will it adversely, this is a key word here, adversely affect me 1 year from today? If I make this blank, will it adversely affect me 1 year from today? Now you repeat that whole sentence, except you change the timeline. If I make this blank, will it adversely affect me 6 months from today? And you got to answer the question. You have to say the whole question. If I do this, will it adversely affect me 1 year from today? No, that's ridiculous, Lynda. Of course it won't. Will it adversely affect me 6 months from today? No. Most likely your timeline going down. So you're going to do 1 year, 6 months, 1 month, 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour, and right now. What this does, because you ask the full question each time, if I make this blank, will it adversely affect me 1 month from today? If I make this blank, will it adversely affect me in this moment? It might be yes at that point. It might be yes at 1 hour from now. But because realistically, you're like, you know what, but it's not going to affect me in a year. It's not going to affect me in a month or in a week. I'm going to do it. And then you just do it. I got to the point where I can just now, I don't even go through, I had to do the step down for me to really see that this was not going to adversely affect my life, because it can affect your life in a positive way. So that's why the word adversely is key here. Because if it's going to affect your life in a positive way, of course you want to do it. But if it's going to adversely affect you, you might want to think about it. But I will share that 100% of the things that I have gone through, 100% of them, that by doing this thing, these 7 steps, I have done every single task. Nothing will ever adversely affect me a year from today. I shouldn't say nothing ever, but of the fears that I had, of the fears that I have had to date. So thinking about that, what are some of the things that you don't have to answer this, but what are some of the things that you're not doing today because you're too scared? Is it picking up that phone? Is it calling somebody and making amends to somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time? And I'll be very vulnerable right here. I have never liked my oldest sister, sibling thing, right? The whole sibling thing. I'm 58 years old. I have never liked my oldest sister. She's 66 years old. Last week, she had a stroke. And being honest, I didn't really feel much because I had never liked my older sister. But I'm going through a process right now of forgiveness for myself, forgiveness to myself for not liking her, but then also forgiveness to her for the things that I didn't like her for. Did she do something wrong? Maybe, maybe not. But did I choose to see it as something wrong? Yes. These were my choices. Other people love my sister. Other people like my sister. There must be something good about her that I'm not seeing yet. So I right now am embarking on a fearful journey. This is a fearful journey of forgiveness. This is a fearful journey of seeing the good in her. Why is this scary for me? I don't know, but it is. It doesn't matter why it's scary. It is. So I am going to be seeing her on Sunday, and I'm going into it not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing what the result is going to be, but I do know this. It's a fear of mine, and I'm going to do it because I'm scared. So with that said, I think my time is almost up. I'm not sure how much time I have, but one last thing I wanted to share, because we all have fears. I don't care who you are, you have fears. I interviewed a gentleman. He has an IQ of 189. They actually made a movie about him. I mean, absolutely like crazy things that he talks about. It's just like, I can't even fathom. So I walked up to him. I was talking to him and I said, do you have any fears? And he looked at me and he goes, yeah, I have the fear of boredom. And I said, I get it. You're bored of me right now and you want me to leave, right? And he said, yeah, pretty much. Which I was okay with because I know his personality, I know him. So it's not like, it's like some random stranger saying, but he's just being honest. He's just being honest. I asked this world-renowned surgeon, he's a bariatric surgeon, do you have any fears? He goes, yeah, I do. He's an extremely successful man. Do you have any fears? I have the fear of insignificance. He doesn't want to be insignificant on this planet. We all have fears. Every single one of us, doesn't matter who we are, what stage we are in our lives, we have fears. We are human beings. What's another thing I did, I'll share this quickly. Another thing I did is I replaced the words scared, fearful, afraid. I replaced those words. They are no longer in my vocabulary. Instead, I say excited. And why I do that is because physiologically speaking, excitement and fear have the same thing that's going on inside of our body. Our brain is what turns it into something different. It's our brain. So if we use a word that's different, one excited, exciting, excitement, these elicit positive feelings. I'm excited to be there. And so you will, if you listen to my podcast or if you attend any of my events, you will hear me say the word excited a lot. And that's because it gets me into that emotional state mentally that will match what's going on inside of my body. So I will say excited. Replacing that with that one simple word also will put you onto a different trajectory. So I want to share, I have a book, The Year of Fears. I have a free download of that. Anybody who's interested in that, just go to theyearoffears.com. And I see we have it on there. Theyearoffears.com. Just go there and download the freebie. And, I have a lot of fun things that are going on in my life. And it's because I'm not letting fear stop me anymore. 2 weeks before my mom passed away, she was with my dad for 55 years of abuse. 2 weeks before she passed away, she said, I have lived my life with so many regrets. You go out there and you live the rest of your life with no regrets. I've been on a path of that. And my My hope for myself is that I do that for the rest of my life. I spend every single day looking to live my life with no regrets. Facing fears is one of the things that I do to go through that. Thank you, everybody, so much for having me. I hope you got one golden nugget out of that, at least. So I thank you. I really appreciate you being here. And, again, have gratitude to yourself for choosing the choices that you're making and for being here today.
Thank you so much, Lynda, for dropping some serious knowledge right now. I want each of you to make sure you go get that ebook. Like she mentioned, it changed your life in 14 pages. Or maybe you're going to be at, the next Well-Fed Warrior experience when we're live, and you'll run down the hallway and be like, Lynda, I've healed my relationships. There's so many different pieces to the puzzle of life. And I want to just note too, Lynda, I'm so grateful that you shared about words, right? As a yoga teacher, and I know Dr. Yasmin's going to come on next and we're going to talk the mindfulness parts of this, but how you're imprinting on your day matters. Imprinting that you're not the kind of person that holds afraid and scared and fearful in your dialogue, especially internally, is huge. And when you can shift into excitement instead of nervousness, or abundance instead of the scarcity, as if the world's coming at you, then you're able to kind of build that security in yourself. And I think so many of us drop into fear a lot more easily because life is moving fast. And so I just am so grateful that you really showed what's possible. If any of you tackle 365 days of fears, I want you to reach out to Lynda. I want you to reach out to me. Go crush it, because I can only imagine who you'd be on the other side of it. And something that we always see in a wellness or health journey as well is that it never ends. I think sometimes we think like, oh, I'm gonna heal my gut, or I'm gonna master the mornings like we talked about last session, and then I'll be there. And the truth is it's not a fulfillment when you have something or when you're doing something, but that you're just harnessing the person you are and becoming and being in that. And that's everything we're teaching today, is how can you become a well-fed warrior? How can I teach you the parts to equip your mind and the parts to fuel your body, so that you're not running from fear, that fear, you have that healthy intimacy and relationship with it. So thank you so much, Lynda. I hope you stick around. You're more than welcome to. And it's just really powerful to, let me see here. Sorry, I got a lot of screens going. To kind of share where